So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's been difficult because I hadn't been able to see my grandchildren.
An expression on someone's face when you do something nice for them.
I miss all my friends in school.
Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccine.
The Sweet and Smoky Salmon Rub infuses smoked black pepper with dehydrated maple syrup, pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub, perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to
watch your favorite black colleges, some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time, I'm proud and I love my HBCU. HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges, some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time, I'm proud and I love my HBCU.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No! 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney+, Hulu, ESPN+, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit HBCUPrideJoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant.
Hey, good evening, and welcome to another live edition of the ONG Strike Zone. I'm Brian Fulford, looking dapper as always during homecoming week is none other than Mr. Orange and Green, Kelvin Rozier, and then right there to his right on the screen is Mr. Kofi Hemingway, and we are the ONG Strike Zone. Glad to be here on this homecoming eve, the Wednesday before homecoming, and the Rattlers are doing what the Rattlers are going to do nationwide. We are celebrating it. And, you know, first off, Kelvin, Kofi, it's good to see you, brothers. How's everybody doing? Kelvin, how are you doing?
How are you gentlemen doing tonight? I am doing very well. Ready to participate in these homecoming festivities. It's great to see you guys. I'm good, dog. I'm ready.
I don't even. Kofi, yeah, exactly. You got that look like, huh? Who is that? Kofi, how are you doing tonight? Kofi's
I'm doing great, man. I'm hyped up, man. It's homecoming weekend. You know, this is an opportunity. This is definitely an opportune time. I am so excited, man. This is music to my ears. Great stuff. This, as they used to say, that it's the most wonderful time of the year. Here we go. That's what Rattlers be doing roundabout homecoming. Then we be like, don't stop, get it, don't stop, pop that. Yeah.
Look, hey, I'm just wondering if, look, I'm telling you now, folks, we have to, I say this with all sincerity, pace yourselves this weekend, because look, this a big stretch over the next 10 days.
Let me help. Hold on 1 second. I want to press time out for a second. Listen, I will never be able to catch Kelvin Rozier and his drove. This man, my brother, is the mayor for a reason. I will never, nor will I try to ever come close to upstage it. If there ever was an all-time king of orange and green, that would hands down be my brother Kelvin. I'm telling y'all now, if the day that he transitions on to glory, I guarantee you that the suit has got to be orange and green. So when he walks through the pearly gate, people of God,
Boy, that
I'm
preaching
trying
real
to
good
tell
right about now.
he's going to let heaven and everybody else know that a rattler has entered into glory.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Look, hey, if you guys are following us and watching us right now on YouTube, Facebook, or even on Twitter, I'm hoping on you guys on YouTube and Facebook, the first thing you've done already is hit that thumbs up button. Some great folks already in there. Already good to see the YouTube folks in there. I know Dr. Lori's already put out the PSA to let folks know. So we invite all of our HBCU brethren, but you got to know, okay, this is the greatest homecoming in the universe. You can have the Earth, you Aggies. You can have your Magic in Birmingham. You can boom and box with College Game Day and whoever you want in Jackson. But I tell you what, the universe comes to Tallahassee. So let's just be clear about all that going on this weekend, okay? A lot of things going on in the HBCU space, but there's only one experience like Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University homecoming. Yes, Kofi.
There's only one. There's only one. And listen, I've had an opportunity to go to several HBCU homecomings. I've seen just about all of them, and none of them come close to FAMU's. I know, everybody's got liquor, everybody's got little high school bands, everybody's got tailgate. What you don't have is the family. What you don't have is that. You're going to always have old school, but the way FAMU does homecoming is like nowhere else. It's nowhere else. Everybody that comes, and once you have that experience, you will go home and be like, bruh, I done seen it, but FAMU's homecoming has it on lock. So,
hey, let me ask
no
this,
shade to anybody else. And listen, we celebrate all HBCUs sometimes, but not on this week. On this week, It's all about Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, and you'll see a sea of orange and green everywhere you go. Everywhere you go.
So much to talk about. If you guys have been peeping out the scroll, and one of two questions I'm going to ask you, Kelvin and Kofi. Best homecoming advice you've ever been giving. One of two questions. I'll ask you the second question later. But if you guys are watching those of you watching us, obviously you can see the scroll down there. But let me ask you, if you can think here, and so I don't know how quickly you can do this, but I want you to think.
It's real easy because homecoming is
you've ever been given.
Homecoming is
all right,
in
go ahead,
our
Kobe.
DNA.
You go first.
It's in our DNA. We know what to do. When you're coming to a FAMU homecoming, the first thing I'm going to tell you is get there early. Everything you want, if you want a good seat, if you want good parking, if you want a nice transition into everything, get there early. If you're trying to get there on time, you're going to be way late and you're going to be in the traffic. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to have to walk further, go further, all of that stuff. Get there early. Convocation, your parking space, all of that stuff. Handle your business early.
Good advice.
And pace yourself.
Kelvin,
and pace yourself.
Kelvin,
pace yourself
what about
is
you?
probably
Best advice you were ever given.
Kobe just hit it. You got to pace yourself. There's so much going on. And, you start to relive some of those old days, see some of those faces, and you think you can do what you used to do. Well, let me tell you something, especially alumni. You can't drink like you used to drink. You can't drop it down like it's hot. You can't get low like you used to get low, right? You don't recover in the morning the same. You don't recover the same way in the morning, right? So, you have to go to bed a little earlier. You know what I'm just saying? That's what, when we say pace ourselves, there's going to be people trying to do everything, right? You can't do everything. Choose one or two, baby, and choose carefully. Because depending on who you with, that one thing could be too much.
Listen,
hey, look,
I'm telling you this, and I'm telling you this. We had an experience when we were doing the Afterglow show at South Carolina State. There was literally a tent that was right next to us that was doing the tailgate at the South Carolina State game. Tons of South Carolina State fans. Old school trying to be old school, not recognizing that they really are old school. This dude passed out. When I say passed out, he literally, his pulse stopped, his heart stopped beating, and when you die, the fluids start coming out of your body. All of that was happening right over there to the right while we was trying to do on the show. Please pace yourself. Please pace yourself. In the sun, again, liquor and heat do not mix. Especially when you're over 40. Yeah. So, please pace yourself. Pace yourself.
I know you two have children. I don't have children, but if I had a child, the one thing I would say is hydrate and don't go too cheap. I'm just gonna say it like that because you know when you're young, you try to go the cheap route, and it's a bad experience. Speaking from experience, don't go too cheap. Daddy didn't, he don't go too cheap. So that old Spurs store where you try to get down there with only $3 and you try to come out with a handful of stuff. No, don't do it.
Somebody in your circle, somebody in the circle has got to be responsible. You need to have somebody designated in the circle that can look out. And somebody that can say, hey, that was about 4. You need to go on and sit down and just chill for a minute. Let that settle in. Play some spades, play some cards. We got you. You're not driving home, but we got you. Go on and sit down. All right,
Hey, one more thing. It's technology nowadays, right? So whatever you do, chances are somebody gonna catch it on their camera, phone, recorder, etc. So technology is not your friend, players. Technology is not your friend.
Look. Hey, how what's the over under on how many days will the word FAMU be trending on Twitter from Sunday on? Because I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of people that
we're going into Southern Week right after this week. So you're going to be seeing a good 2 weeks. Actually, you're going to see a good solid 3 weeks of FAMU stuff. Because we're going to Montgomery too.
Yeah,
I'm telling you now.
Hey,
it's 3 homecomings in a row, and one of them is on the road.
Let's get into a few things here. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we've got the head ball coach himself coming on. I confirmed it 2 different times. So, Lord willing, everything still works out. We got Coach Simmons coming on at 8:30. Then at the top of hour 2 at 9 o'clock, Coach Robert McCullum will come on to give us, we'll talk about the basketball season, which actually they start media. Actually, there's a media day on Monday. And I believe as November rolls around the corner, the first games will be starting sometime next week, I believe. So the basketball season is right here. One of the things, look, the game is a sold out. I think that announcement came out on Monday. 20. What's our seating capacity, Kelvin?
22,500.
They haven't said exactly. It's somewhere around 21,500 to 22,000, I think, though.
Okay, so I did some research, and Kofi and I were talking offline because I think, and we'll get into this here shortly because I know Kofi wants to expand on this. The fact that with this being a sellout of 22, this is definitely going to be one of the smaller homecoming crowds. I did get confirmation from AD Smith. There's not going to be any kind of temporary bleachers coming in or like we've seen in years past. Last year, there were 31,887 people at homecoming. The previous years, and I'm just going to go through 19, 18, 17, and 16, 25,679, 26,045, 25,067, and 26,044. That was the attendance in the 4 years prior to the Grambling State game last year. This year, if we go max capacity, we're probably talking 22, 23. Which brings up the question that Kofi brought up offline, and I thought, hey, it's worth talking about now. Uh, what are we losing? What are we losing? We got these beautiful additions to the stadium, but talk on it, Kofi. You have some concerns about what we are losing out on with the current setup structure for the attendance for homecoming.
Well, let me just say I'm kind of disappointed. Largely because if you fail to plan, you can plan to fail. And just the discussions, just stuff that was happening with attendance, you know, there's so much that goes into it, right? Because it's kind of like, you know, we like to win at everything when we can. You know, obviously we fight and win whatever the battle be. One of those battles is the darn attendance battle, right? We like being in the darn top 5. Even if we're not number 1, you know, we like being around no lower than 5 if we can do that. And there was an opportunity to freaking do that had we, A, reported the score, the attendance right during the Albany State game, but then B, you know, making sure that you have enough tickets if that's a goal of yours. Okay, now let's get to the money thing because that's really important. We had 31,000 people into the stadium last year. 31,000. If we only have 21,000 people into the game, 21,000 into the game, that's a difference of 10,000 people. Let's just say the average homecoming ticket is $30 a piece. 10,000 people paying $30 a piece is $300,000. That's $300,000 in revenue, not including your parking, not including your concessions. If you're doing it right, if you're planning right, if you're including this. I paid as much as $50 going into a homecoming ticket. $50 to go into homecoming. It's normally a highest price ticket of the entire year. And guess what? Because people freaking pay to come to homecoming. They want to be around the atmosphere. They want to do it. If the goal of athletics is to make money, there's going to be 100,000 people on campus for the parade, for the game festivities, and after the game. It'll be well over the whole city. The city comes to the highest of 7 hills. The fact that we haven't taken the time to monetize that is just simply concerning. Imagine 100,000 people paying $10 just to get on campus. What is that? What is that? How much is that? 100,000 people paying $10.
$1 million.
There you go. That's $1 million in revenue that we're basically just passing up for just people coming on campus. And, you know, everybody, you can look after the game or during the game on Perry Street. Perry Street is like, I've never seen a street like that outside of a Mardi Gras festival or something like that with that many people just have to generate revenue. And we got all these money games, XYZ, and people talking about the way to do that is to monetize it. You can't do that if you don't sell the darn tickets.
Kobe breaking up.
Yeah, you was a little bit. Hopefully we still. I caught most of it, all of it. Kelvin, your thoughts on this topic?
So I don't want to overstate things and exaggerate things because there's some other factors that go into this thing. I do agree with Coach that we need to monetize it. I though in the
meteorite sides. I know we doing the HBCU Go in terms of the game itself, and I know GMA is going to be on campus. Um, but I like to see us have corporate sponsors uh, with $1 million checks. And everybody to come into the footprint. Uh, uh, and I guarantee you, we'll have some. We'll have 25, 26 in the stadium. Of course, we'll have 25, 26 outside the stadium too. And we'll go by those old numbers in terms of capacity. But you know, um, I would like for them to consider the north end zone. I know people like that premium areas and so forth, and they've created kind of a VIP environment over there area or make that area, that premium area, even more enhanced, uh, so that we can get additional seating plus, but people can still have that premium experience. Um, so I like to see something like that at some point, but with the configuration of the stadium now and the enhancements, that's something that has to be something for the next day. I mean, for the next year.
Yeah,
And
I
let
think.
me just say this. Let me say this, right?
Okay, quickly.
We literally rushing me in this homecoming. All right, but literally, we had 36,000 people at our homecoming back in 1979. That's our record versus Tuskegee when Muhammad Ali came. We played it at Doak. 36,000. That's at Doak in Tallahassee at a time when Tallahassee only had 50,000 people as the population. Okay?
Right.
We had 36,000. And the stadium had 30. I'm sorry, the stadiums had 36,000, but it's 50,000 people that actually live in Tallahassee. So that's a lot of people that's coming to the game. That's back in 1979. We've had well over 25,000 on a consistent basis, and it's 2022. I literally believe that our homecoming should be drawing 40, 50,000 people. I believe if we could house 40, 50,000 people on average, we could do it on homecoming. But my concern is this going into next year. We got Jackson State coming into Tally. Dion's first visit back into Tally. That's going to be a premium ticket in addition to Alabama State.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on? Sure, it's wireless. Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password? Buick Envision 2021. Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable. That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking. Me too. Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High-quality cigars, plus personal customer service.
.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
All right, welcome back to the OMG Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, Kofi, and it's good to be joined by the head ball coach this homecoming week, Coach Willie Simmons. Coach, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
You're doing good.
We doing well.
Good,
we
Coach.
doing well. We can't all be dressed like Kelvin, Coach, but we trying to do our best, you know.
Kevin getting ready for the homecoming parties.
Hey, yeah, he's definitely ready. Hey, I heard the hardest part during this kind of week with your players is always trying to get them to basically understand that this weekend is kind of not about them really, and that you guys still got a job to do. You've done this a few times now. I guess that message has always been well received, but just kind of run us through what that speech and conversation is usually like with the guys.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic. You don't want to overplay it, and I think the more you tell them, don't do, it gives them more of an incentive to do it, right? And so, basically, the message on Sunday was just understand what's at stake. We still have a ton to play for, and we have to be mentally and physically prepared to play our best game on Saturday. And so every week brings its own set of distractions, but because it's homecoming, they're magnified by 10. And so again, just being where we're supposed to be, when we're supposed to be there, doing what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to do it, and understanding why it's important has always been our team philosophy. Those are our team rules. We don't have a long laundry list of rules. Those are our five. Be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, doing what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, and knowing why it's important. If you do that this week, we'll be fine. So if you're not supposed to be at a party, don't be there, right? If you're not supposed to be at an event, don't be there. If you're supposed to be at practice, in class, in weights, in meetings, let's be where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there. So as long as the guys hold true to our core values and beliefs, they'll be fine. But homecoming is always a great time, so we definitely don't want them to not enjoy this great time and festive time of year. But we want them to understand that every homecoming culminates with the football game on Saturday, and we want the thousands of Rattlers that are coming back to town this week to be able to go back to their respective homes with a great feeling, and that means us winning the football game on Saturday.
Well said. Well said. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say first off, congratulations personally on getting a career win number 50 as a head coach. After that road win on at Grambling, that coming out of that road trip, I know it was very very tough road trip, close wins, tough wins, a lot of things that you wanted to correct over the course of these 2 weeks. Take us behind the scenes if you can, and what are some of the things that you hope to have shored up over the 2 weeks since the last game at Grambling?
Well, the biggest thing for us is developing a level of consistency that allows us to play good football for 4 quarters. We've shown at times throughout the season that we can be pretty explosive on offense. We've shown more so than not that we can be pretty hard to move the ball against the score on defense, and we've shown that we can be a special teams unit that continues to flip the field and puts points on the board when we have the opportunity. We just haven't shown them consistently for 4 quarters yet, and so that's what we've been continuing to preach and then work on. Just to guys again understanding the sense of urgency you have to have throughout the week to prepare yourself to play your best game on Saturday afternoons. And so for us, I think the more we can continue to work on those little things, to pay attention to detail, we'll finally have that breakout game where in all phases we're dominant because, again, we feel like we have the talent to do so. But, again, talent without execution means nothing. So we have to do a better job of just executing the plays that are called, the assignments that they're given. And if we can do that, all 11 guys, the problem that we've had this year, it's kind of been our Achilles heel, 10 guys will do it exactly the way the coach should do it, and one guy won't. All right, and anybody who's played football, who understands football, knows that it takes all 11 guys to do it right. And so, last week I told the O-line coach at halftime, we have a leaky oil valve. Like it's a leak. It's not a spill. It's an oil leak. So we got to find the leak and we got to patch that up. And if we can do that, we can run the ball. We can control the clock. Every now and then we had an oil spill. There were some plays where 4 to 5 linemen did something bad, but more often than not, it was just one guy, who might miss a block or not finish a block, and that prevented us from being able to have an explosive play. Straining on the pass play where Jeremy can set his feet and throw an accurate ball, or a guy running wide open and Jeremy doesn't set his feet and misses the throw. So, again, just all 11 guys doing their part. That's the beauty of football. And once we get to that point, I think we'll be a very, very dangerous and dynamic football team.
Kelvin, go ahead.
Coach, this week presents a couple of unique things. First of all, our opponent, Pine Bluff, they got rid of Doug Gamble mid-season. So you've got the offensive coordinator who's been an interim head coach and has some Power 5 experience.
coming in, and he's taking over. They have some talent at Pine Bluff. The quarterback is pretty good. They have a nice lineman or two, and they got some skilled people. What kind of challenges does that present in terms of preparing for a homecoming opponent when there's that unknown factor coming in? And then also the other unknown for you has been guys kind of been in and out the lineup because of injuries and all kind of different other things. It's been a unique year for you as a coach. Just talk about your this midway point of the season, everything you've been through, including the compliance stuff. Just considering where you are now, just talk about that journey from your coach's perspective.
Well, to address the first question, our preparation hasn't changed. Yeah, they unfortunately, well, for them, made a change at their leadership with removing Doc Gamble from the head coaching post and appointed Coach Treadwell as their interim head coach. I'm assuming he'll still be the primary play caller. He's been that all season. And then defensively, I would anticipate their defensive staff continuing to do what they've done all year. And so our preparation will be the same. Once the game starts, there's always that game within the game, the team that's able to make the adjustments based on what they see. Are they showing you what they showed you on film? Or are they bringing some new things to the table? If we see something new, how quickly we can adjust to that. That's going to be the challenge for us, but our preparation won't change. As far as this season goes, every season it tells its own story, right? And I think the story of this season, and of course we're still writing that story, will be how we've overcome adversity. Everything that we faced from the athletic director change starting this spring to the compliance issues, the certification issues that we've had to endure, key injuries to some key players, Cesar Reyes being out for the year, Brian Crawford missing most of the season, Rashawn McKay being done for the year. Right now, Isaiah Land being a questionable game time decision. And so, again, there have been a lot of injuries that have occurred within this program. And because of that, you got to build quality depth. And so when the chapter of this season, the last chapter is written and ends, we'll look back on it and see that this team has endured a lot, but more importantly, they've overcome a lot. And that's what I'm most proud of.
Kofi, jump in there. Well, we still got you, Kofi.
He went out.
Yeah, well, he'll probably come back. Maybe he thought he was gone, but he'll pop back in just a second. In the
I got sniped.
Kofi, yeah,
I got sniped. I'm back.
You're there. We got you.
I'm
go,
here.
go,
I'm
go.
alive.
Yes, go.
All right.
Go.
Coach, man, this has been interesting. You just dropped the whole bomb on Rashawn McKay, like not being done for the year. So, are you at liberty to talk about that, or what happened with him?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, Rashawn entered concussion protocol, before the first game, and so didn't play. Played a little bit against North Carolina, and then against Jackson, same thing. And so we made the decision after that to rest him, to try to get him, back to being Rashawn of old. And he has not recovered from those symptoms to the point where we feel confident playing him, right? And so, of course, we know how severe concussion symptoms are and protocol are, and we don't want to a situation, where we're forcing a guy to come back before he maybe is ready to come back. And so, again, this has been an ongoing thing over the last few months, and we've kind of kept it under wraps. But, we're going to have to make some decisions, short-term and long-term, about Rashawn's ability to continue to play the game that he loves. And so it's unfortunate that he's having to miss this season. We had a long talk last week. He's come to terms with it. But it's definitely something that we didn't anticipate. And, it caught us off guard and by surprise. But, again, that's all part of this process of just being able to adjust and adapt on the run. And that's a huge loss for us. But, again, our number one concern is the short-term and long-term health and safety of not just Rashawn, but all of our guys. And concussions are probably the most serious injury because we don't fully understand them yet. There's been a lot of research done and all those type things, but we still don't fully understand the long-term impact of concussion. The torn ACL, a broken bone, those things, we know how you recover or deal with those later on, but there's still a lot of uncertainty about what another concussion would do to you long term. So just don't want to put him in harm's way right now. After the season, we'll reevaluate it, and if he feels confident and comfortable to come back, then obviously we would love to have him. But if he doesn't, then obviously we'll transition him to the next phase of his life. But he's a fighter. He's a tough young man, the toughest player I've ever coached, and love him to death. But right now, again, his health and long term success is more important than what he can do for us on the football field right now.
Wow. So I guess the same thing in terms of like Jordan Moore, who announced that he was not going to be joining us this year. So is he picking up a red shirt? Was he injured, or what happened with that as well?
Yeah, so Jordan's gonna redshirt this year. It's not because of injury. There was a miscalculation of his transferable GPA coming from the junior college that he attended, and so wasn't able to get certified to compete this year. Obviously, whenever you transfer, you have to do a year of residency unless you satisfy certain stipulations. In his case, one of those stipulations was his transferable GPA, and it was once it was calculated, we saw that he was a little bit short. And so he's still with us. Obviously, practices every day, does a really good job for us. And I think Jordan's going to be a great player for us in the future. He's still got 2 years left with us. And we're looking forward to seeing what he can do moving forward. But, yeah, he's going to redshirt this season. And he'll go out and compete for that starting job this spring.
Wow. So last question. So with all of that, you had the opportunity to talk with our new AD and, of course, the compliance issues, some of which you just went over. As we go into recruiting season, how do we look for this season to be different from last season in terms of, because the portal has changed the way that we go in, it's like, well, hey, we got a dude out there that's got experience. He can come in, he can help us right away. And then we get him here, and then it's like, well, dang, well, we ain't gonna have him for like 3 or 4 games. So what are we gonna do to fix that up and shore that up so that we're not having to go through these, ups and downs? Because I know, Lord knows, I know how I felt. I know how we felt, and I know how that has had to have impacted you as well as the team that they're practicing with. So what's going to be done differently going into 2023?
Well, one thing that I can say is that, VP AD Tiffany Don Sykes is well versed in compliance. That's where she cut her teeth in the profession. And so just being able to surround the student athletes, the coaching staff with a thorough and well-staffed, competent compliance office is priority number one. And then that carries right over into academics. And so just the entire process of evaluating transcripts, whether they're high school transcripts, junior college transcripts, transfer transcripts, just being able to identify any deficiencies that a prospective student athlete may have, and then allowing us as coaches to be able to project what their status will be for us moving forward. Whenever it comes to, particularly with transfers, the tricky part about that is when you recruit high school student athletes, typically you're talking to these young men for sometimes up to 3 years. You typically start the process sometime later in their sophomore year, really kind of starts to pick up their junior year, and then by the senior year, you're hot and heavy, and you're trying to close the deal. So you got 2, sometimes 3 years to get to know this person, right? You know their families, you know their coaches, you know their significant others, their friends. I mean, you know a lot about these young men. So you have probably a greater probability that if something is going on or wrong, we would know it. With transfers, because of the timing of it, a guy enters the portal and it's a race to try to get that young man on the phone, to possibly try to get him on a visit. And so you lose a lot of that legwork that you put in on the front end. So sometimes you may bring a guy in who, may have an issue, whether it be academically or physically, We've had a couple of guys that had some injuries that they had previously that they played through at their last institutions and didn't get operations on them, and so they come here and it's like, well, we can play them, but he's probably only going to be able to play for half a season or have to sit out significant reps. So let's just go ahead and operate on it, and have them ready for the future, right? And so a lot goes into it, and so the omen falls on us as coaches to obviously do our due diligence in vetting every prospective student athlete, whether you're a high school prospect or a transfer, is really vetting you and making sure that all of our I's are dotted, all of our T's are crossed, so that we don't bring someone here that we find something out when they get here, right? And that happened too often this year. This was the first year we really encountered that, and we don't want to continue that cycle. So that's the biggest thing. But having a fully staffed compliance and academic staff that's able to evaluate transcripts and do all those is going to be something that I think gets us over the hump.
Wow, that's some powerful information, Coach. I think that's the first time I've heard it broken down to that level in terms of the challenges with the transfer portal. And so it kind of brings me to obviously today the uninterrupted video dropped. Of course, that's LeBron James and Maverick Carter's company called. I had to make sure I got it here because it's pretty long. Faith and Fight. About the FAMU athletes advocate for change. Obviously, you were part of that, as seen through the video. As you watch the final cut, what kind of thoughts come through the mind? Because I would just say, for me personally, I was wondering about the timing of it. For me, it dropping right here on the eve of homecoming. Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it something to just remind alumni, hey, there's a lot of things that we need your help with? What's your take on just the timing of the video? Did you know it was going to be dropping right here on the eve of homecoming, right in the middle of the week?
No, I did not know that it was going to be dropped today. And I actually saw a post of it on social media or the Democrat, and I was able to click on the link and view it. And one, I thought it was well done. I thought they did a really good job of allowing the young men, Xavier Smith, Isaiah Land, Jose, BJ Bowler, those guys to really speak to what it is that they were feeling. Right. I think there were a lot of misconceptions throughout that time, a lot of misinformation and assumptions during that time. And that doesn't typically go over well. Right. So to hear the young men say, hey, this was never an attack on Dr. Robinson, on the administration, on any particular individual. This was us as students at this university voicing our concerns with issues that affect us and our ability to graduate and play the game that we love. And so because they were able to articulate that in that manner, I think people who really are genuinely concerned about the long-term success of Florida A&M and Florida A&M athletics, when they see that, they see how it all ties together, right? And again, this is bigger than one person. It's bigger than Dr. Robinson. It's bigger than me as a head football coach. It's incumbent upon all of us to understand the limitations that we have, because we are a low resource institution, right? We don't have the abundance of resources and the financial resources that the Power 5 schools have. And so it's going to force us to be creative. It's going to force us to be innovative, and it's going to force us to work together and find ways to provide the opportunities that these young men and women deserve, right? If we want to continue to compete at the highest level. And so again, I thought it was another opportunity for us to come together and figure out collectively how we can help FAMU move forward, because we're all Rattlers. We all love this place. We all pour into it every single day. Coach, alum, faculty member, student, you name it. If you wear this orange and green, we know you love FAMU. And so what can we together do to make sure that the stuff that's put out about us are positive things, right? Because there are a lot of phenomenal things that are going on and that are happening here every single day. And we don't want the attention to be on the negative stuff, right? And so did I think it was bad timing? No, I don't think information is ever bad timing, because I think it's an opportunity. Regardless of the feeling about it immediately or the perception of it, it's an opportunity for us to look introspectively and say, what am I doing? Right? Am I part of the problem or am I part of the solution? And we're committed to being part of the solution here within this program. And I know that President Dr. Robinson is on board. Our new athletic director, Tiffany Dawn Sykes, is on board. The board of trustees, our faithful alum, everyone's on board to make sure that this moves us in the right direction. And I'm excited to see where we go.
Thank you for that. Kelvin, give you the last word. Last question there for Coach.
Coach, I 100% agree with you, and I support the how it was done. I thought it was very well done. And again, it's about the student athlete experience. As someone who's been an administrator, who's been there, trying to advocate, also as far as trying to get resources to do things that we should be doing. The story has to be told. It's the truth. It's honest, and hopefully, it's motivational. I would love to see this move beyond talk and more into the arena of action, and in the arena of action about pre-planning and fundraising and working, as you say, as a team, truly being led by the experts, right? Sometimes the reality is, yes, we low resources and there's some things we can't do, but there's a lot of things we can do. And if we allow the folks with the athletic aptitude to lead a lot of the decisions that happen, then I think HBCUs it's just not a FAMU thing. I just think HBCUs in general, there's an opportunity to get to that next level. I appreciate it. I appreciate the transparency, and I think it will serve us well if we listen, and then that motivate us to ask more. We talk about on this show all the time. We're doing more with more. We do a lot with less. That's nothing to brag about to me, right? We need to be doing more and more. These kids putting, your U.S. coaches, your staff, you put a lot of time in this thing. You want to win, you be successful, and we owe you all the resources to do that. Now, that's my soapbox issue right for now. But what I wanted you to talk about is having Coach Spady back. It was a real joy to see him return and so forth, and just do what he loves. I know that he loves, and then to recover. Just talk about having him back as part of the program and so forth, and that whole ordeal.
Yeah, first I know I speak for Coach Spady and his wife Barbara and his kids, Jalen and Mason, when they say that they truly appreciate everyone, who supported them during this time. Whether it be prayer, a kind word, or even financially. This was a trying time for Coach, and again, he's a very prideful guy, a very intense, passionate guy. And so when he had the episode up in Chapel Hill, I knew nothing of it until after the game. He started having some complications during the game, but just because he's an old ball coach and been a head coach and didn't want to disrupt the flow of the game or me calling plays, really didn't speak to some of the things that he was facing. And so once I found out, I was upset with them because I hope you don't think I'm that type of coach that is more concerned about winning a game than the health of one of my coaches or players. As I joke with them about that. But that month and a half period for him was very trying, right? We take for granted the senses that we have. Some of the things that to wake up every day and you still can see, you can smell, you can taste. I think some of us kind of got a little bit of that during COVID when we lost our taste for a little bit. We saw how important taste is, right? And so for him to go that period without his eyesight was very challenging for him. And his wife Barbara had to fly back from Arizona and help him move around and take care of him. And he had an operation a few weeks ago that gave him a lot of his sight back, and now it's starting to slowly come back to a level where he can hopefully get all of it back. But just to be back out there with the guys, you see a smile on his face. You see him you see a difference in him in his demeanor and his attitude. He had been around. He'd come to some games. He'd come to the field house, every now and then. But you just see a change in his countenance now, being that he's able to be out there, being in the staff room with us, game planning, and all those things. So, it reminds us to not take for granted the things that we're blessed to have, right? Because like we tell the players all the time, but I think even for us as adults, that message rings true for us to not take for granted the ability to, go on your job every day, hug your kids every day, tell your significant other that you love her, all him or her, all those things that we that become mundane, right? We do them over and over and over again, and we just take them for granted. And Coach found himself unable to do something that he's done for close to 30 years, which is coach the game of football. And not being able to do that really, really affected him in a profound way. And so now that he's back, we're excited about it. We're happy for him. And, we're encouraging him to continue to listen to his body. We don't want to push him too hard. He's still on the field. He's coaching, but taking it easy, just to make sure that he's able to continue to be healthy and do the things he wants to do. But again, can't say enough of how much Rattler Nation and others came to the plate to really help take care of Coach during that time. And it speaks to what the family is all about, truly about. And it's another reminder that this is a truly special place. And we fight amongst each other. And it's old Tupac lyric, we fight amongst each other, and I promise you this, we'll burn it down if you get us pissed, right? Together. Right? So, we're going to fight amongst each other sometimes, and we've done that, but when it's time to come together, we show that we can pull together better than anyone. And that's why I'm so excited about the future of this place. We went through a rough patch earlier this year, but hey, that's a part of it, right? Sometimes, you got to let that sore scab over a little bit. And now let's continue to heal and continue to grow and get better and get stronger. And that's what FAMU's doing. And we're excited about the new leadership, and brighter days are definitely ahead for this athletic program, for this university, and for everything that is FAMU. So happy homecoming, everyone, and look forward to seeing everyone packed and brag this weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Coach.
Thanks,
hey,
Coach.
Thank you for your
Well
time
said.
tonight. Yes, sir. Well said. Thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck this Saturday, and we're going to enjoy watching this last stretch rundown as we, try to finish up strong. So we appreciate your efforts. Appreciate you, Coach, most definitely. And all right. Well, hey, have a good night. Get some sleep, Coach. Get some rest tonight. All right. Take care of yourself.
No rest for the weird. I'm gonna find wherever Kevin going. He dressed too nice. I'm gonna figure out wherever he's going, and I'm gonna
There it is. Kel, you gotta lead. You gotta lead us, Kel. You gotta lead us. All right. Coach, appreciate your time tonight. Take care.
All
right. That's head ball coach, Coach Willie Simmons, joining us. Hey, we're going to take a break. Come back. We're going to head from the field to the court and talk to our other big time head coach Robert McCullum, our head men's basketball coach. On the other side, you're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's been difficult because I hadn't been able to see my grandchildren.
An expression on someone's face when you do something nice for them.
I miss all my friends in school.
Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org so you can make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccine.
The Sweet and Smoky Salmon Rub infuses smoked black pepper with dehydrated maple syrup, pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub. perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU. HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment. Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
This is Ryan.
Welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Kofi Hemingway, and now it's a pleasure to be joined by head men's basketball coach, Coach Robert McCullum. Coach, how you doing? Happy homecoming week, Coach.
Thanks so much. Homecoming is always special for our players and just anyone affiliated with the university, past, present, and it's a time of year when excitement is at an all-time high on so many levels, so many good things going on, and I was on the tail end of Coach Simmons' remarks, comments there, and so again, so many people. It's just another opportunity for them to show their appreciation and what FAMU meant to them, what FAMU still means to them, and the impact that it's had on so many lives.
I'm kind of curious. It made me think. We were talking offline about what homecoming, the challenges of the scheduling is for the team. But my question for you is: Are you envious, or are you okay with the fact that a big event like homecoming is not during your season? Or would you want a big event like homecoming happening during your season? I think there's sometimes could be some good and bad with that. I don't know. What's your thought on something like that?
No, I've never had those feelings or those thoughts. I mean, I'm a realist. I mean, I know the popularity of football in America. Also, from a scheduling standpoint, it's just it's a lot easier. It's more. There are schools who do have homecoming. Those schools who in conferences where they don't have football. So there are schools, and that may be the only homecoming they have. It's around men's, women's basketball. But I mean, I've worked at so many universities where homecoming is homecoming. There's no bigger weekend during the entire academic year as far as I'm concerned.
So no matter if you were a student athlete or not, it doesn't matter. You still you if you get an opportunity, you come back to campus. You're connecting with old friends, old classmates. It's just so much going on, and so it's a time that I have a great deal of appreciation for. And I don't think what sport you coach or you're a part of. I think everyone can rally around homecoming and all that homecoming stands for. And you guys know as well as I, at so many places, a lot of people don't even attend the game. Just think of if the tailgaters would attempt to get in the game, there would not be room for them. So again, I think that in and of itself, it speaks to that homecoming means so much more than just the game itself or just the specific sport itself. So you're doing all of those things around, the football game and the fact that the football team, is winning, is having a good year, 5-game winning streak. All those things, matters a great deal. Needless to say.
Yeah. Let's with the season coming up right around the corner, as the team opens up. Let's talk about this team for a second, Coach. This is I went back and I watched the media day session again, and because look. We were preseason picked 5th in the SWAC by the SWAC, whoever I call them, the SWAC cabal, the people who do these preseason things. I don't know who they are, but they do the preseason selections and all that stuff. They picked us 5th in the conference, which I thought was great, considering the fact that this is a whole new squad coming in this year. 9 new players. By my count, we have 9 junior college transfers. We lose our top 7 scorers are gone. Talk a little bit about your mindset, enthusiasm, whatever it is that this team has. What can Rattler Nation look forward to from this new group of guys?
This team would be perhaps one of our more athletic teams. So a lot of people that have just seen our team across campus or what have you, their immediate comments are, "Boy, y'all are big. Y'all look really big." Well, it's certainly not our biggest team, but I think more specifically, we'll have the biggest wings that we've had. We've got more guys in that 6'5" to 6'6" range than we've had. Which and to just kind of give you a point, okay, what does all that mean specifically? It means defensively. That's where it could have a great advantage because it would enable. We like to switch a lot anyway, and so when you got a lot of guys similar size, it really gives you an opportunity to do a lot of switching, which gives you a chance to really disrupt what teams want to do offensively without putting you at a disadvantage. We only have 2 scholarship guys. That's 2 scholarship guys are 6'2". Everyone else are taller. And I would like to, in an ideal situation, I would like to not have but one of those 6'2" guys in the game at a time. I don't know if we'll quite be able to do that. But again, if you could put a bigger lineup out there where, give you an example, the way Florida State plays. Florida State, I don't know the last time they've had a player that was shorter than 6'4". And so they switch everything. And so their bigs, their 4s and 5 men are so athletic that they can match up with guards because of their athleticism. And so with bigger wings, that's what we'll be better able to do. So defensively, with our size, and that's an advantage that we can have. And we've got to find a lot of those advantages to sort of offset, just the lack of experience, the lack of familiarity, and those kinds of things.
Kelvin, go ahead.
So, Coach, talk a little bit about the offensive side
I'm sorry.
of the team. I know you like to build your teams on defense. Coach, you
Is he
there?
frozen?
Hello?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you there? Can you
He
hear
might
me?
have got sniped.
No, I think Coach is there. I hear his audio, but we may have lost his picture there for a second. So let's give Coach a second here. There you
Can
go.
you
We
hear me
got you
now?
now, Coach.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
Okay,
sir.
got
good.
you.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got you now. We got you. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Kelvin. Repeat your question.
I can't see Kelvin's face. Is what I was like. The two
I'm here.
screenshots of me.
All
Okay,
right.
you probably
Well,
you might have your picture over my picture. It
Well,
yeah,
might
I'm
there's
not
two.
default
really
to
There's
sure.
that.
two. There's two pictures of me, and that's what I was trying to.
Yeah, so move
But
one of those
Yeah,
pictures.
it's
huh?
okay, Coach. I'm here.
Okay, okay, I can hear you.
All right, so I want you to kind of talk about what you anticipate out of your team offensively. Talk about the style of play you anticipate, and how your early season schedule. How does that you believe enhance your opportunity for this team to grow as you say you got a new team. They are very long. That's one thing I would tell you that I noticed the length of this team, which immediately made me think of Florida State and that style of play. Also, I know you like to lay your head on the defensive side, but just kind of talk about um, what you expect offensively, who some of the key players, and then your early season competition.
Well, offensively, as you know, our offense takes a lot longer to get established, to develop continuity and chemistry. And of our nine players, someone mentioned that nine, not all nine are JUCO. Two of them are out of the transfer portal. Well, one from Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas, and then a second one is Brown University in the Ivy League. He's a grad transfer. And then there's one high school kid in the group. But offense takes a lot longer, and that's an area, quite frankly, where we've struggled. We are not as far along as I hope we would be. Um, but Byron Smith, a 6'2" guard, combo guard from TCC, who made the all conference team. You make all conference in that league. You That's impressive just because year in and year out, a team from that conference. I don't know. I think you can go back 8, 10 years, and a team from that conference has finished in the top 4 or 5 nationally, and that really speaks volumes for how good the teams are top to bottom. And for example, Northwest uh, won the national title this past season. So for him to make all conference, in the league with Chipola and Gulf Coast, that speaks volumes. Played at PK Young in Gainesville, and actually played his first 2 years at Southeast University, southeast of Louisiana. And so, he brings a lot of experience. He can play both guard spots, and he's been a little slow, really getting the offense, but yet he's one that has a lot of possibilities. One we really expecting a lot from. Then the other 6'2" player is Jordan Tillman from Pine Bluff, played at the JUCO Corner State in Oklahoma. He's the team's best defender, probably the toughest, real tough, hard-nosed guy. And he's one you kind of got to rein him in every now and then. But I'd rather have a player you have to rein in than one you got to kind of tell him to giddy up. He's a lefty, and so those two guys from in the backcourt, and then there's Jalen Bates, 6'5.5" player from Atlanta. He'll arguably be. It wouldn't be a stretch to say he'll be one of the 5 or 6 best athletes in the SWAC. And so we're trying to play him in a similar style, Kelvin, as we played Bryce Moraine. And so he's more skilled than Bryce, and we're trying to get him to rebound the ball the way Bryce rebounded it, and just be, you know, Bryce was like the equivalent of a middle linebacker in football, or, you know, a safety, and he was just the glue to everything we did defensively. And so we're trying to get Jalen to take on that role. But again, athletically, I mean, that gosh, he's an incredible athlete. And so with his versatility, he's 6'5.5", probably 210, and he's very capable of having a good year. It's just a matter of how soon they'll be able to make that transition. Scheduling wise, Kelvin, there's been no change in terms of, you know, the challenging teams we open up with. We'll open the season at Oregon, and while out there, we'll add 2 money games. So the Oregon game is interesting. We've played them twice before in a guarantee game, but this game is part of the first annual Pac-12 SWAC Challenge, which I think I mentioned this to you all before the last time I was on. That's historical. And it's again, our commissioner, Charles McCullum, he's just raised the bar. He's raised the statue of the SWAC just continuously. And then you all may be aware, he'll chair the selection committee for the NCAA selection show next year. Tell you what, there's no AD in the country that would not do anything to get that position. It didn't get any bigger than that. Being the chair of the NCAA selection committee. And again, so he's helped put together the SWAC challenge. So Oregon will come to us next year. And we haven't, you know, obviously the specifics haven't come out, but the date's not ideal. But you get perennial, your top 20 team coming to Tallahassee, to the Lawson Center, and it'll be shortly right after the Classic. And so already I've got visions of hopefully we can sell the place out. But and while we're out there, we'll play Portland and Oregon State University. So we'll play 3 games, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, play 3 games all within 100 miles of each other. And so that's how we'll kick off the season before a trip to Miami. And then we'll come back and open the home portion of the schedule against Albany State, much as our football team opened with Albany State.
All right. Kofi, go ahead.
Coach.
Hey, let me, if I can, let me go back to scheduling, because I really want to mention this in the event I'm not on again before this happened. Speaking of impacts that our commissioner has made, we're also fortunate this year to play the University of Kentucky, and not just play them, but this has commissioner's hands all over it. He convinced John Calipari to commit to a 5-year plan. It's called the Unity Series. So for 5 years, he agreed to play a SWAC team. And last year was the first year they played Southern, because Southern's coach, Sean Woods, played at Kentucky. And you all may remember the play that you'll forever see every year going into the NCAA tournament, when Christian Laettner caught the length of the court pass for Duke to beat Kentucky to go to the Final Four.
Right.
Well, Sean Woods had just made the shot to put Kentucky up. So anyway, because of course he played there, so the first game was naturally would be against this Southern team. So we kind of managed to get bumped up. We got to next, so we'll play them. And so what's historical significant about that game is Kentucky will recognize a former player from Kentucky, and we have the opportunity to recognize a former any alum from FAMU didn't have to be someone that plays sports. And so I nominated Clement Johnston. I'm proud to have done it. So that night, Kentucky will honor a player who's the first black to graduate, first black basketball player to graduate from Kentucky, and they'll honor Clement Johnston that night. And of course, he and his family will all be there. So I'm really, really happy about that. And there'll be some other things that both teams will do. Both teams will travel to Cincinnati, which is about hour 15-minute drive from Lexington the day before the game, and just kind of take part in some activities at the underground railroad museum in Cincinnati. So they're really just making just some cultural, historical, areas to as part of the Unity series. Just kind of making it educational. So again, really, really looking forward to that, and that would be December 21st. So I did not want to pass up the opportunity to share with you all the honor that Clement Johnson is going to receive, and he was felt so good, about being so honored.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Kofi.
Well, Coach, I mean, that's all of that's really amazing, man. So I know that, in terms of basketball, and your time here, I mean, like you're a fixture, you're one of the pillars, and I want to say guardians of FAMU athletics. So right now, how has the program progressed? And I want to say, have you had the opportunity to meet with our new AD and get a feel for where we're headed in the next 3 to 5 years?
Very, very good question. I actually had a first phone conversation with her a couple of days ago, and actually met her in person today. She actually came by to Gaither to watch us practice some today. So I got to meet her and introduced her to the players. She actually saw some of the guys working out this morning. So it says a lot about her. The guys they left at 7 a.m. So she got to catch them in the weight room a little bit. So that tells you, start of the day. So happy for her, and obviously as a member of the FAMU coaching staff, I'm all in, and she deserves the support of all of us, and she's going to need all of our support. And it's the only way she's going to be successful. The other part of your question, I unfortunately I can't comment right now on what the next 2, 3, 4 years will look like. I wish I could. I have an idea of what's needed, what's necessary, and like if you asked Coach Simmons, he would have told you the same thing. We've got to have greater resources. It's no secret, and I don't mean to make excuses or whatever, but it is what it is. And we, quite frankly, we seemingly will fall in farther and farther behind our conference brethren in terms of resources. And I mean, it's no secret we're a long way behind, not necessarily in this order, but Alabama State, Prairie View, and Jackson State. I mean, we are a long way. And I kid you not, we're a long, long way behind those schools.
What do those schools have that we currently don't right now?
Well, let me just say this: their budgets are almost double what our athletic budget is. That's the biggest thing. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And I think that there may be 1 or 2 schools in the league who've begun to give cost of attendance. And so, that's based on NCAA, based on all those other things that a student needs. It's factored in seasonal clothing, cost of travel to and from school, all those things. So those things they can vary from $400-$500 a month to $3,000-$4,000-$5,000 a month. All based on what it costs for a student to attend school, where and so that's what it's based on. So we're not giving cost of attendance, and of course the impact of NIL, and so some of the schools we compete against, let's go back to the MEAC, for example, A&T, Central, just their recruiting budget. I mean, the places that they travel to, the money they spend during the year recruiting. I can count the number of flights for a recruiting trip that my staff and I have taken on one hand since I've been here.
Mm.
And I have at least one, if not two fingers left. So we are almost forced for our recruiting to be
local,
very regional. So we'll go. Atlanta is just a hotbed. So you can draw 50 miles around Atlanta. I mean, and there's so much talent. So we spend a lot of time over there. We also go over there quite a bit because there are a number of events over there where you can see players from other areas of the country as well. So we could go see a kid in Atlanta, and we may be able to see him in a 2 or 3 day period. We could see him and his team play 3, 4, 5 times. And we still say we like the need to get down to Miami or get down to Tampa to see a kid. But again, we're stretching our dollars by attending those events. In Atlanta, we were at one at West Georgia University a few weeks ago, and so we do that. But yet, it comes down to money, and so that's just an area where hopefully. Money does a lot of things. Money helps you in recruiting. Money enables you to go and look at a different caliber player. Maybe he's in Canada. Maybe he's in the DC area. And it also enables you to say, okay, we're going to offer cost of attendance. So now we're going to school a lot of players, prospects will look at us. We'll be more appealing to them because, okay, now Troy State offers cost of attendance. So now we've negated that advantage, that say a Troy State would otherwise have over us. And you may find this interesting, but we actually found ourselves competing more against Stetson, Jacksonville, North Florida, a lot of the ASUN, OVC, Big South schools, quite frankly, than we do a lot of SWAC schools.
So I guess that's actually a good thing then, in terms of, because some of those, the especially I want to say Stetson or the schools that you just named are not, I want to say necessarily doormat teams, but, at the same time, we have an opportunity to be pretty competitive with those, especially ASUN. But, all Rattlers want to see us have success. They want to see us win. And I think that, just really being able to communicate the strategy of what's next and how we can get to that next level and how they can participate in the building of the program, I think is really paramount and key. Let me ask you this. So is there a scenario where you would welcome the band to go to, or a part of the band or a pep band to go to Kentucky with you all? When is that game?
Are you kidding me?
I'm asking.
Of course we would. Of
December
course,
21st,
absolutely.
Wednesday, December 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, so that makes it challenging because they would have already been out. Finals would have been over. A week. So that part is not really that's not realistic, unfortunately, given the date. But again, and I'm sure you all have had conversations about this, and uh, maybe with Coach Simmons or others. But the NIL, that's not going away. And so any boosters or interested parties, I mean, that's something. The sooner that there are opportunities for prospects, NIL opportunities, that too is going to make us a lot more attractive. Perhaps you've already heard. I mean, Jackson State, some of those prospects they just signed, there were NIL opportunities. And
For
so
basketball?
again, I can't say specifically. I wouldn't be surprised, but I know there was some for football.
Okay.
And so again, that's where we are, and that's not going away. And so when I say we, I mean all interested parties. We've got to find a way to take that next step. That's that next step. If we really want to elevate men's, women's basketball, you really want to elevate football, the NIL is not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, there's a the NCAA is kind of at it again. You've got Congress involved. They back in court now. So what does that mean? The NCAA could be forced to repay athletes from the last 2 or 3 years money that athletes should have been entitled to. You have an idea how much money that could be? Football, men's, women's basketball. So again, it's not going anywhere. And so again, those are the things that have to in order for us to stay competitive. Let me say more specifically for us. And as you all know, and Kelvin knows all too well, because he's not only has he been a part of it from an administrator, but he's literally traveled with the team. So we've got to get to a point, and this is going to be my conversation with the administration. We play all these guarantee games. We have to get to a point where we can keep some of the money for our program.
Absolutely.
And so you say absolutely. I hear surprise in your voice that we aren't already. But
right.
But again, so that's how other schools in the SWAC, that's how they are increasing the coaches' salaries, the head coaches' salaries, the assistant coaches' salaries. This past year was the first year my staff went to the Final Four. So when the Final Four takes place, that's our national convention is held in conjunction. Where as a coach or administrator, you're supposed to be entitled to attend at least one convention a year.
Yeah.
So, and think about what I just said. This past season was the first time that my staff has ever attended the national convention. So, there are just things like that. We've got to get the salaries up, and and the thing about it, all these things should be doable. It's none of those things are far fetched, but it's just an example, of how far, that gap, it just can't continue to widen, very much more. And then facilities are it's going to constantly be a race. And so there's always going to be room, people they walk into the Lawson Center and say, wow, this is impressive. And for a spectator, it is. But, you get behind the scenes, you get where where do those players go when they leave the floor? When they go to the locker room, the player lounge. Those two are areas that are really lacking. And so, again, those are things these things are crucial. These are just almost absolute musts in terms of what things that you have to have to be a competitive program. And right now, these are issues that Texas Southern not having these conversations. Trust me.
No,
And they haven't had these conversations or concerns in probably close to 10 years at least.
Well, hey, Coach, we know the season is right around the corner. We're gonna call all of our Rattlers in the Northwest. I mean, there's a good Rattler. There's a good Rattler base up in the Northwest.
Absolutely.
I got a good friend. I got a good friend, Nikinge, who's out that way, and I know she'll be rallying up her people in the Portland and the Oregon area. The season starts in Oregon, November 7th. That whole week, you're in Oregon, then at Portland, and then Oregon State. That whole week, that first full week of the college basketball season. Hopefully some of those games will get on those local broadcasts out there in the West Coast. So it'll be late night with the Rattlers. For those of us who like to stay up late watching college basketball, that's my favorite week of the year, that first week of the college basketball season. So, Coach, will definitely stay up and wish you guys much success out on the road, and we'll be paying attention. And then once the final home schedule comes out, we'll be doing everything we can to make sure Rattler Nation gets out to the Lawson Center to check out you guys the course of this year. So thanks for your time this evening. Any closing words real quick, Coach, that you want to get in?
Yes, thank you. She and I have already spoken. I actually met her.
Okay, I bet.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, at the National Alumni Convention, this was the third one that I attended since I've been here. And so once they talk about that Pacific Northwest, that Northwest group, I kind of turned my attention to them and let them know we're coming out. So she and I, we exchanged numbers. We've had 2 or 3 phone calls and text messages. So we're really looking forward to that. I anticipate that both the Oregon and the Oregon State game will be televised on Pac-12 Network.
Okay.
So which is always good. And then one more thing, all I can mention is that we're recruiting him, but we really tickled about a young man from Polk County, from Winter Haven High School. I can say that we're recruiting him. So the rules allow me to say that yes, we're recruiting KJ Parker from Winter Haven High School. And you all are knowledgeable about Polk County, and so he was the starting point guard for Bartow that won the state championship 2 years ago, and he just moved over to Winter Haven, who's loaded, and they have one of the top 10 players in the state who just committed to Georgia, and Coach LaDon Gibson, a former women's head basketball coach, is the AD there.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So
nice.
Again, I'm excited. I'm excited about what's going on from a recruiting standpoint from Polk County.
All right.
But
love to hear it.
Always, I appreciate you guys' support, and I really appreciate it. It means a great deal. And Kelvin, man, it's hopefully I'll see you this weekend.
Where the tailgate at, Coach? You gonna be in the same spot?
I'm gonna be where y'all are.
We're gonna be in the same spot, man. I've been trying to get you to come by, man. I got a package for you. You won't even come. If you knew the demand for what I have for you, you would have.
Coach, say no more. Say no more, Coach. I will personally.
I'll find you around publication time.
Coach, you want the whole show? I mean, dude. Coach, you want the whole show? What are you saying? You want the whole show, Coach? Come on now.
Hey man, Al Lawson's been by. Alan Williams has been by. I can go on and on and on. No Calvin.
I got it, Coach.
Calvin
I got him,
Johnson.
Coach.
I'm
I got him.
My
I got him,
guy.
Coach. I got him.
Hey, he done sang me on national
He
broadcast.
did. On national TV, right there. He did. He said that's the only way he gonna get you. Boy, he put you out there, didn't he, Calvin? Good job.
Yeah, he did. I'm coming, Coach.
That's all right.
All right.
Hey, appreciate you, Coach, and we'll see you this weekend. Be good out there, Coach. All right. All right.
Okay, sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Again, that's head
All right.
coach Robert McCullum.
Right.
Hey, look, real quick before we go to break, this non-conference schedule is one of the toughest in the country. Listen to this non-conference schedule and the Power 5 teams that we play. At Oregon, at Oregon State, at Miami, at Florida, at Georgia, at Louisville, at Kentucky, at Purdue. At it right now, only 2 of those teams are in the top 25. Kentucky's 4, Oregon's 21. But in the last 2 years, all of those teams have been in the top 25 in the last 2 seasons. That's how ridiculous our schedule is. And that's not even including the home games. We don't even know how many home games. I know we're still working on contracts and trying to get all that squared away, but that's the road schedule. Good God. So, hey, let's hope these boys with they win. Look, they came to FAMU for a reason. Hopefully you came to play against some of the best in the country because you sure about to play them. Definitely.
Hey, I'll let you know a little secret. I get a vote. I'm one of the coaches. I vote.
Coach is still there. Okay. I know Coach is still there. Hold on. Bring Coach back in then, Producer Mel. Hold on. If he's still there, go ahead. Bring him back in real quick. Why not? Is he still there? Did he go away?
I'm here.
We hear you, Coach. We hear you. Go ahead. Say
Oh,
what
okay.
you want to say.
I was just going to say, I think it will come out next week, but I'm one of the voters in the coaches poll, in the coaches USA Today top coaches poll. I'm one of the voters. So I gotta see if I can get some of these other people in that top 25. That's what I was gonna say.
Coach,
I gotta readjust my voting.
Hey, this is a heck of a schedule. This is a heck of a schedule, Coach. Hey, whew. All right. Well, hey, the guys came to FAMU to play, so you're gonna get to play against the best. So that's what we see already. So, all right. Well, hey, again, thank you, Coach. Thank you. All right. Hey, we're gonna go to break. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being heard.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
All right, welcome back. Brian, Kelvin, Kofi here. Coming up here, final 10 minutes of the show. So a lot of stuff that I had planned talk about. We just kind of tossed that over there because we got to wrap it up here. So we'll be looking out for an announcement. We may do like a Twitter Spaces tomorrow night, like a second edition of the ONG stuff that we didn't get to on this episode. We may do as a Twitter Spaces. Real quick, I want to mention our volleyball program. Obviously, football. We talked about basketball. Just a real quick mention that the ladies we beat, but BCU. When was that? Monday, Friday, Saturday, Friday. Yeah. So this past week. So pretty much the team will have almost like a week off. Let me say a week between games. I shouldn't say off. You think that's 10 Eastern, 9 Central? It may actually be 10 Central. I'm not really sure here. Then they play Sunday afternoon against Texas Southern. Then on Monday morning, the 31st, they take on Alcorn State. And then, of course, next Wednesday, at 2 p.m., they take on the University of North Florida. So that's an opportunity for the student body to really get out and go watch them in the afternoon. Hopefully, that's a 2 afternoon game. So we'll talk more about the Lady Rattlers tomorrow on tomorrow's show. I had some other news and notes regarding basketball, which we'll also talk about tomorrow. Last week's SWAC, we're not going to talk about that because that's gone and over. Time is wasting here. So let's get into this week's games, okay? And we'll just run down. Is there anything you wanted to talk about last week's games quickly? Anybody? Kofi? Kelvin? No.
Good,
Well, I
good
mean,
week,
FAMU
good week
wasn't
for the
playing.
SWAC. Good week for the SWAC out of conference.
Okay.
We beat
What about you,
Lamar.
Kobe?
We beat Campbell, whatever they is. The Campbell.
Say
The
Campbell.
Humpbacks.
Campbell?
Yeah, we beat them. So
Hump
we had some good out of conference wins, and now that we get into this week, boy, there's a lot of big games this week in the SWAC.
Oh man, yes there are. Anything you want to add about last week, Kofi, real quick?
It's your hump day dance. It's your chance. Do the hump. Hey.
I'm sure that's not.
Hey, way to go, South Carolina State. Way to go, South Carolina State. That's helping our strength of schedule.
Yeah, for real. Do the hump, the hump. Do the hump, the hump.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it does.
No, but all of that's good. But we can go on to this week. I think but I think this is this overall, it's a good opportunity for HBCU football. North Carolina A&T has playoff aspirations right there in front of them. Tennessee State, if they went out, they have aspirations in front of them. If FAMU wins out, the opportunity is there. There was a guy that did a little projection stuff out there, but the remaining part of our schedule is indeed a doozy. It is tough. It is not going to be easy, but we can get it done. So all of that is right there in front of us for the taking. So we just got to take it.
All right. So this upcoming Saturday, it starts with College Game Day coming to Jackson, coming to your city, Jackson State University. You get the College Game Day experience, of course. You know what I love about Rattler Nation? We were so quick. I mean, we wouldn't even let Jackson State have like 15 minutes to enjoy.
We
We were quick to tell them, oh look, y'all weren't the first to have them, so don't I'm like, y'all calm down, man. Look, they know, but anyway,
Let them have their little moment,
let them have their little 5 minutes, and but boy, Rattler Nation was quick to jump down their throat, weren't they? That was so funny to watch on the over the weekend. So Southern, Jackson State, 2 first-place teams. Southern, first place in the West. Jackson State, first place in the East. 1 o'clock on ESPN3, the Boombox, as it's known. But this time it's more of a football showdown. I'll start with you, Kelvin. What's your take on this game, and how do you see this one going? Quickly.
Love it. I think it's going to be a great game. Southern is versatile. They can run and pass. They have a mobile quarterback. So they have the elements to actually win this game. Right now, I think the weather's going to be, from what I've heard, it might be raining in Jackson. So if that's the case, I'm going to still go with Jackson until somebody beat them. Jackson State beat them. But Southern should have beat them last year, actually. They let them score 2 touchdowns in the last, 4-5 minutes, jump ball. So Southern's not going to be intimidated. They're going to have a lot of fans there. But until somebody beat Jackson State, I'm sticking with Jackson.
Thoughts, Kofi?
Everything Kelvin said. When we played South Carolina State, we had, Shaq was a mismatch, and he's been a mismatch literally for everybody. The thing about Southern is they have multiple Shaq Davises. So, you know what I'm saying? This is going to probably be the best wide receiver core that Jackson State is going to face this year, and probably the most athletic or most balanced offensive attack that they will see this year. So it's going to be interesting to see what Dooley has in his game plan going into this game, since he faced Jackson State's defense last year in the SWAC championship, and what his approach is going to be going forward this year. So, like Kelvin, if I'm betting my life, I'm not betting going in there saying Southern's going to win the game, but they are capable. This is a rivalry game where your records go out of the window. These teams fight like forever, and there's been some crazy enders right there in Jackson. So I'm looking forward to a great game.
Yeah, I echo all of those sentiments that you said. I'm especially interested to see what Dooley learned about himself and his tendencies from the SWAC championship game that maybe he does a little bit differently in this contest should the opportunity arise to have a shot at beating Jackson State. And for Jackson State, I'm curious to see, can they get off to a good first half? Because they have had their slow starts, and so I know that'll probably be one of the points of emphasis is getting off to a good start, because you do not want to get down or be maybe 10 points down on Southern at the half. I don't think you want to do that. So again, that is a 1 o'clock. That may be a Central, 1 o'clock Central on ESPN3, which is essentially just digital. It's digital. You don't have to have the Plus subscription. Your normal cable subscription should work, and you can watch it. And of course, College Game Day is from 9 or 10 in the morning Eastern until noon. I'll be interested to see how they incorporate the HBCU culture, HBCU Southern, Jackson State, the history of that matchup. It'll be interesting to see how Game Day handles it. They did a good job back in 2008 with FAMU and Hampton, and also back at the MEAC SWAC, so I will not be surprised. The other big matchup in the SWAC, I'm skipping over some of these other games like Bethune, Prairie View, Alcorn at Grambling, Texas Southern hosting somebody. The Magic City, Alabama State, Alabama A&M. let's see. Both teams are coming in, I believe, at 4-3, or something to that effect. Somebody may be 3-4. What's your take on this one, Kelvin?
Another toss-em game. Alabama State, I think, a little stronger defensively. Alabama A&M a little stronger offensively. Maynard has owned Alabama State, but Ed Robinson Jr. is there now, and he is swag. He's swag. So so we gonna find out. Alabama State need to win this game. We need them to win this game. I guess either way, we don't play both of them, but we want teams rolling and on the road when we play them. So I'm rooting for Alabama State to win, and I'm gonna go with Alabama State.
There you go. I love that philosophy. Kofi, who you got?
Ditto, Bama State. I think defense wins championships. Of course, I said that last year, and A&M came in there and still beat their tail. So, but I want to say that Bama State's QB situation is a little bit better this year, and that's going to be the difference in the game.
See, it's. I think their QB situation is better than what it was last year. I don't think it's better than A&M's though, and for me, that's why I may have to go A&M in this contest. I think A&M has the better offense, complete offense, but who knows? We'll see what happens. A couple of MEAC contests, which are kind of interesting because it involves teams that we have played or are scheduling. South Carolina State now is sitting 1-0 in the conference after the win against North Carolina Central. They play Morgan State. A lot of people like Morgan State, even though they're 2-5, 0-2. Any chance that South Carolina State stumbles, Kelvin?
It's always a chance. It's always a chance.
Okay, so who do you like winning the game? Let me be more direct. Who do you like winning this game? It's at Morgan State.
South Carolina State.
Go.
I trust Buddy Pugh. I trust Buddy Pugh more. So, the weakness to Morgan State is their secondary. Shaq gonna have a field day.
Well said. So both of you going South Carolina State. Okay, in the other contest, North Carolina Central loses their first conference game. Not really sure what that looks like for them. Although I think I know I had them penciled in the Celebration Bowl. Now I don't know. They play a Dell State team that is 1-1 in the conference. This might be an elimination game for somebody. I hate to say it. Who do you like in this one? North Carolina Central or Dell State, Kelvin?
Central, and but Delaware State is a tricky team. This is a team that could definitely go up to Dover. It's always interesting. It's like going in the valley. But Central should win this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna call this. I'm gonna call this one like I called last week's game with Texas Southern going to Alcorn. Y'all was adamant they ain't coming up in the homecoming. And I was like, man, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. But I would not be surprised if Delaware State pull this one out, man. They are tough at home. They're solid. They're a solid team. They're tough at home. The MEAC is a mess, man. The winner of that conference might have 5 wins this year. So I don't know. I don't trust Central at this point again. After saying last week I wasn't gonna pick against them. So I don't. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm gonna go Central, but it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me. All right. Okay. Here we go. Homecoming game. FAMU UAPB. Obviously, we all feel very confident. Just a couple of quick numbers here, and then I'll get out of the way. The Bragg Memorial record, which obviously won't get touched today. 33,954 at homecoming back in 1996 against Morgan State. FAMU is currently 51-13 in homecoming games. We currently have a 3-game winning streak. Did you know that FAMU has had 2 different 13-game winning streaks during homecoming? We had a 13-game streak running from 1955 to 1967. And we also had a 13 homecoming game streak from 1995 to 2007. That was a little bit of history.
You mean home
that I
game
found.
win streak, right?
No, the homecoming games. Only that means winning the homecoming game.
Okay.
So we won. Yeah, so right now
in
we
other
have
words,
won.
In other words, we're not missing college.
Correct. Yes. It's funny you mentioned missing college because the team that FAMU has the most wins against on homecoming is one Morris Brown University with a 12-0 record. And dare I say, can you think of the school that we have the most homecoming game losses to?
Tuskegee.
Again, we've only lost. There it is. Well, look at you, Kofi. You've been in the history books. 3.
I love.
We're actually 3-3 against Tuskegee. So we don't. It's not like there are a couple schools we have losing records to on homecoming games, but Tuskegee actually 3-3. 3 is the most losses any one school has. All right. So bowl prediction time. We haven't seen the guys in 2 weeks. Kelvin, what's your bowl prediction for Saturday's game?
This may be our first complete game. I'm gonna say our offense gonna reach 40 for the first time this season.
Nice. After 2 back-to-back 20-point games, it'd be good to see them double that up. All right, Kofi, what's your bowl prediction?
We'll see either a pick six or a special teams touchdown.
So you're going with the pick six or special teams touchdown. Okay. My bowl thank you for reminding me. That game is 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central on HBCU Go. The Charlie Neal will be in the house. I was going to say something, but I'm not, out of respect for Charlie Neal. Love Charlie Neal. I was going to say something, but I'm not. So my bold prediction is going to be that we have, let's see, the lowest number of penalties we've had this year, I think, is 3. I'm going to say we have, in a game, 3 penalties in a game. That's the lowest this year. I'm going to say we match that. Nope, you won't see more than 3 penalties called against the FAMU offense or against the team. I guess I should say the entire team.
Hey, Kofi, would 100 get a penalty?
Oh, that's a good one.
No,
that's a bet. You're saying I'll take the bet. I'll take the yes on that. Can I'll take the yes on that one. I'm taking the yes.
because they cut the show short last year and didn't even bother, so it's a no.
Okay. How long are they giving them? 25 minutes at halftime, or is it Super Bowl halftime? Is that what's happening this year? Anyway, all right.
It's a televised game, so.
Yeah, it's a televised game. So, hey, we got to get out of here. Again, want to remind you, hey, Kelvin and I, and maybe Kofi, we'll maybe try to do a Twitter Spaces tomorrow. Just maybe get to a few of the things that we didn't get to. So be looking out for that. We'll drop a little nugget on that, and we'll maybe kind of drop that out there for 30 minutes and give you some more homecoming tips and advice. Maybe tell you where we will be at if you want to come check us out and say, hey, we'll kind of share that information. So be looking out for Twitter Spaces announcement tomorrow. We'll drop a part 2 of the O&G strike zone. So what is EA hit me offline. Let me know which bet is that you're taking. That the penalty bet. He's probably wanting to hit me with that penalty bet. Yeah, no, I don't feel comfortable enough to bet that one. But I'm going to just call it a bold prediction and get out of here. All right. That's going to do it for tonight's show. Got to say thank you again to Coach Simmons and Coach McCullum for joining us this evening. Appreciate our producer Mel for producing tonight. And again, Kelvin, Kofi, I'm Brian Fulford, Rattler Nation. Be strong, be smart, be safe. Pace yourself, Rattlers. We got a long 2 weeks. Pace yourself and hydrate. And then when you see him out in the streets, let him know to make sure you strike, and strike again. Good night, everybody.